Belle Kay was just screaming at me. And I don't appreciate it, Belle. There's only one person on this show that gets to do the screaming, and that's me.
I wasn't screaming on the show. I was screaming behind the scenes.
I didn't say you were screaming. I said you were screaming at me.
Right.
You were.
It's what they pay me to do.
Oh, that's true. You're the one. All right, so we have a very special guest in studio, and Cameron's here.
It's hurtful. It's hurtful.
Cameron Smith is joining us early on the Wednesday edition. Hello, Cameron Smith. How are you?
I'm great. Everything's going fine with football and things.
Oh, we'll talk about that later. Now that you brought it up, I'm
going to take my licks. It's fine.
I understand that there's a possibility of a backup quarterback. Just think on it. Just think on it until the 2:00 hour. I don't want to take up Wyatt Rampy's time. And also, we're joined in studio by a political candidate for office here in Nashville, Tennessee. His name is Wyatt Rampy, and I just had the opportunity to meet him. And if you've not heard about Wyatt, then you get the opportunity to meet him as well. Hello, Wyatt.
Howdy.
How are you?
I couldn't be better.
Tell us a little about yourself and why in the world you want to sully what I'm sure is a good reputation by going to the State House.
Oh, no, I'm anxious to do it. No, I grew up in Northern Virginia, came down here to go to Lipscomb in 1985, fell in love with the city. I was in Virginia because my extended family was there, and we moved to be close to them, and that was right outside Washington. And as a little kid, oddly enough, I like to watch the news. And so I watched the news. I was pretty well informed for a kid, and that politics, everything got in my blood. And I knew I wanted to serve one day. And so I married exactly the right woman. And one day she said, if you don't run, you're going to regret it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ran 2 years ago for the State House, had a good campaign, but we lost in the primary. But I knew I needed to try again.
So you mentioned the mid-'80s when you were involving yourself in politics at a young age. Was Ronald Reagan someone that you looked at? I mean, did you kind of gravitate toward the great communicator?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah.
It drew a lot of eyes. It drew me in.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Sure.
So tell us about your desire to become the next state senator from District Number 20.
Well, so it started, honestly, if I'm real about it, it started with, I want to do this. Do I go back? And I want to serve the people of Nashville and Tennessee. And so we looked at, do we go back to the House district and try again? Or do we look at the Senate district? Well, it didn't take long looking at the Senate district to know this is where we need to serve, because it's not being served. And talked to a lot of people and got the buy-in and said, let's do this.
It's a tough lift in Nashville. Nashville's known as that little blue dot in a big red state, along with Memphis. It's really one of the only two. So what's the message when you get out and about to the people of Nashville, trying to kind of overcome? I feel like there may be an inherent bias amongst the citizens of Nashville that, well, our community goes blue. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way, though.
It doesn't, for two reasons. Number one, we looked at the data, and the data for our district showed a strong leaning toward red. You look at the Alice Rowley race, you look at David Fox before her. Mm-hmm. You look, all of the data shows our district is pretty solid red. Not solid red, but comfortable red. And then you look at, people are not stupid. And if you display to them the record of my opponent, Heidi Campbell, then the question is, there is no question. The choice is clear.
The last time I had an opportunity to speak with Heidi on air was the day that I didn't kick her out of the studio. I asked her politely to stop lying to the listeners, and she said that she would not sit here and be called a liar. And I said, well, then you can leave, because I'm going to call it like I see it. And this discussion was in relation to schools and school choice. Mm-hmm. Heidi Campbell is steadfastly against giving parents a better opportunity, a more robust opportunity to make decisions about where their children go to school and how their children learn. Tell me where Wyatt Rampy is on this subject.
Exactly the opposite. So in full disclosure, my wife and I have been fortunate enough to put our kids in private school. We started in public school. Our son was in kindergarten. The school environment was great, but federal policies, whatever the school policies were causing the teachers to do everything to the test. Everything in kindergarten was about the test. And, our son was your typical kindergarten boy, full of energy and all of that, intelligent, happy. And we realized after a relatively short period of time, this kid was stressed out. He'd come home, again, kindergarten, he'd come home with homework that he was doing till 8 or 8:30 at night.
They're doing homework in kindergarten?
In kindergarten. And then we found out they weren't even able to have PE. These little kids were not getting to run off all the energy they've got, and that's just not right.
Sounds like a school system was worried about getting some federal money.
Exactly. It was all of the federal money. And so anyway, we had the ability to make a change. And we made that change. We stayed with it. We've got 4 kids. We put them all through private school. And there is no question I am fortunate to be able to do that. And I look and say there is no reason everybody shouldn't have that right, that ability to do it. And so when the governor put forward, I haven't seen the terms actual, but the concept that we can use our tax dollars to get our kids exactly the education they need. So I've got 4 kids. It's hard to believe, you got the same 2 parents, but 4 distinct kids. One in particular just struggled to learn. We had to get her the learning that adapted to her, and that was our blessing.
Cameron, it occurs to me that you have 4 children, and they're all exactly the same.
All they're clones, really.
They're just hellraisers.
Right. We lock them outside because it's safer.
I mean, you and I have talked about this quite a bit, and it seems like Wyatt's on the same page, is that you give every parent in Davidson County and in the surrounding communities all across the state of Tennessee the same opportunities that some who are blessed and fortunate have worked very hard to earn an income that provides them an opportunity to send their kids to private school. Some people don't have that opportunity.
And we shouldn't apologize for it.
No.
It's not in full disclosure. I hear you, but that's what it's become. If you seek out opportunity for your kids, you're doing something wrong. And every kid should have opportunity. And let's be honest about Nashville, a lot of them don't.
Well, what I think is wrong, and not to put too fine a point on it, what's wrong would be a political candidate stepping into this studio and saying, I had the opportunity to send my kids to private school. I never once stepped in a public school myself. However, I'm going to deny a less fortunate or lower income earners in Davidson County and in my district the same opportunity that I had, and that is your opponent, Heidi Campbell. I mean, she was a privately educated. She sent her kids to private school, but she wants to deny certain people in the 20th district the same chance.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons that drove me to run.
What are some of the other reasons? Talk to us about, if you had to prioritize some of the biggest issues that you talk about in the 20th district as you walk through the state Senate district. What are they?
Well, I subscribe to the idea that you need 3 certain things for a society to function. You need to be able to hold a good job. You need to be able to educate your kids, and you need to be able to do it in a safe way. And so I look at all those issues and start breaking them down and all the different things that fall into those categories. Crime, education, and all of it starts, to me, with kids.
Yeah.
If I've got time for a quick story, my first job out of college was the great, sexy job of collecting on bad mobile home debt. People got behind on their payments. My job was to call and get the money out of them.
You met the best of society.
Oh, yeah.
That gig, boy.
That's awesome.
That's good.
So I'm a young kid.
You'll take a check? No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm thinking about that old. What was that? You might be a redneck guy. Jeff Foxworthy.
Yeah, right.
He did the repo of the car. Anyway, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah.
But anyway, so young, sheltered Church of Christ boy, and I thought that I needed to be nice to people and cut them some slack. And my boss brought me into the office one day, and he said, "Hey, you're going and calling the debts that are 120 days late and on and on." He said, "They're never going to pay you back. They're never going to catch up. You need to call them when they're 15 days late and work with them and convince them that they'd rather live in their mobile home than in their truck." And that was it. And that principle applies to everything, and especially here. I really, really care about kids. And you impact a child's future early on, you impact their whole life, and that changes society.
When we talk about State Senate District 20, what are we talking? We're talking about, I know Goodlettsville is there. I mean, where in the district do you live?
I live in Bellevue.
Okay.
And people laugh at me, but if you think of Nashville as a triangle, I call it a triangular donut. And so you come from the north of the airport, up north, over to the west to Joelton, come down to Bellevue, and over to Brentwood. So the core of the city and a little bit of East Nashville is...
Yeah, it's kind of like an off-kilter sea almost around the city of Nashville.
That's right.
So it would be a little more red. I mean, are you hopeful that the people of the district are ready for change, are ready for someone different than Heidi? I mean, and I would expect this school choice issue is on the lips of everyone you talk to.
School choice, the economy, crime, believe it or not, men and women's sports is a big deal to people. Mm-hmm. They don't want it.
Do you believe boys should compete in female sports?
No.
See how easy that is?
That's pretty easy.
See, the conservatives... Do me. Do you believe boys should be able to compete in women's sports?
No.
See how that's so easy. Then you ask a Democrat and it gets real nuanced.
It depends on what the definition of a man is.
Right.
Okay, but here's what I believe. I believe that Nashville has common sense people.
I do too.
On both sides of the aisle. And I think they're saying the Democrat Party has taken it too far, and we've gone way beyond common sense. And enough is enough.
How are you at fighting people on Twitter? Because that's what Heidi Campbell does.
She's a keyboard warrior.
Are you into that? Because I'm not aware of things she actually does. I'm very aware of her fighting on social media.
Okay, I don't. I don't even get on Twitter.
That's the right answer.
Yeah. I don't have time for it. I want to have reason.
Wyatt, I wanted you to follow me.
Well, I didn't say I didn't follow you, but no, the fighting.
He is. He's right there. I see him.
The fighting is pointless.
What?
That fighting is pointless. I want to have reasonable, respectful conversations.
Priorities for let's say you are blessed with getting elected as the next sitting state senator for District 20. What would your personal priorities? Let's set school choice aside for a moment. Personal priorities as a freshman in the state senate.
Mm-hmm. The mechanics are yet to be determined, but I have talked to a lot of members of the police, Metro Police, got the FOP endorsement. They're concerned about obviously the attitude toward the police, and it's affecting recruitment. We've got to overcome that. The numbers I'm hearing are that our police is supposed to be about 1,650, and we're 165 short, so 10% short. But I've had officers tell me, look, Memphis is a smaller city with 2,100 police officers. So we're actually way understaffed as a city. And I know that because I've had to advise my kids, you have a fender bender, don't even call the cops just because they're not going to show up.
Well, I wish you the best. It's a great introductory meeting. I'd love to talk again, maybe even before Election Day, and hopefully we're able to welcome you as the newly elected senator from District Number 20.
I'd sure like that. Nashville is a great city the future is so bright for our city, and it just needs somebody that's reasonable and focused to be that bridge between the city and the state.
Where can people find out more about Wyatt Rampy?
WyattRampy.com.
It's just like you spell it like
Just
it
that
sounds.
simple. WyattRampy.com.
We already established that Rampy. I asked him. Everybody out there listening, Rampy is of German origin, right?
Yep.
Well, there you go. And what's Smith?
No one knows. Nope.
Wyatt, thank you for the time.
Hey, thank you.
There's Wyatt Rampy.